Bit of an unboxing of today's studio wear that I'm going to be painting. I've got these off of Crystal Crow. I'll put a link to their website under the descriptions there, but these are some lovely crystal birds that been my fault. I should have gone and collected them ages ago, but we met up at a craft fair that we both at, and grabbed hold of them. Very nice indeed. She's bought a few of my paintings, and we did a bit of an exchange for these for another crow painting that I do. So yeah, I'm very pleased with these. These are lovely. Can't wait to paint these now. How beautiful is that? That is just gorgeous. And also, I bought myself a little bat. Don't know whether you can see that or not. There you go, look at him. He's quite a cutie. Anyway, I'm going to set these up on my easel over there, and I'm going to do a painting of these. They're absolutely gorgeous. So thank you very much, Pri, if you're watching in. Pleased with these. Anyway, let's get on with the painting, shall we? Okay, there's the panel that I'm going to be painting on. It's an old painting I want to keen on, so I'm getting rid of that. There's my key light. There's those beautiful crystal birds. Down here is the palette of colours I'm going to be using. It's the same palette of colours I used for the fork and an owl that I did not so long ago. Right, because they're quite light, here comes a motorbike. Because they're quite light, I'm going to just, there goes my dogs barking at the motorbike. We look forward to this every summer. It's great. Dogs barking at everything that goes past the house. You would have thought you would have got too old for it by now. Bless him. Old German Shepherd Luca. That's me light. Light's giving up. I've just ordered a new one, so hopefully it'll see me through this painting anyway. So I'm just, oh, here we go, look. I don't know. As I say, I'm doing these in light, Naples yellow and a little bit of titanium white. I thought I got flake white out, but I didn't. Titanium white. Because we got a couple of the white lighter figures. Just roughly sketching them in. Motorbike. I might chuck a load of music over. Again, I'm not sure. I'll keep yapping, and there goes my daughter shouting at the other dog. We've got an Alsatian and we've got a Doberman, and yeah, both of them are blooming pests when it comes to people, bikes or anything walking past the house. We live in a little country village and right opposite a pub, so we get a lot of thoroughfare coming through, and yeah, they seem to think that they got to protect us all. Bless them. Only thing is when people walk past, they'll seem to think it's great to go woofity woofity woof to the dogs, and it just sends them more crazy, and the dogs have to come in, which isn't fair on the dogs. So if you do walk past people's houses and their dogs are barking at you, don't woof back at them. They're basically telling you to sod off. This is a wooden panel that I'm painting on. As I say, I did have a painting on previously, but it was trash, so I thought I'd go over it. I may speed it, well, I will speed this up. I'll put a little bit of speed. Oh look, not as fast as that bike could go. I won't speed it up that fast. Just so you don't have to hear me waffling on all the time for too long. And again, something that had been to my demonstrations and workshops. Apparently they like the waffle. That's what they tell me anyway. So look at that. I'll step back and I look at it from afar, and also I do look at it through my camera screen as well, just to see how things are going. I've just got a bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm just boxing in around about where the shadows are as well. If you're new to oil painting or painting and drawing in general, best bit of advice I can give is don't try to be too precise and put too much detail in right at the beginning. To be honest, it really doesn't matter at the beginning. Play. I'll probably have to do this in a couple of stages because I'm cooking. It's Sunday. I cook dinners Saturdays and Sundays at home. My wife does it during the week. She goes to work. I go to work. So it's only fair that I'll cook Saturdays and Sundays. Give her a break. So I'll probably have to disappear. You won't see it anyway. I don't know why I'm telling you, because you won't see it in the video. I just carried on doing this. It's just in case the light changes, because if I have to come out here later on and it's darker, it's just in case the light has changed basically, because you'll still have the light on the subject. The ambient light around me will change. Here goes a cockerel. Got 3 cockerels, about 16 chickens. We used to have ducks, but sadly they're gone now. I wouldn't mind some more ducks. Love duck eggs, a bit richer than chicken eggs. Well, I've got light grey board behind them. That's another painting surface. It's just that where I've got this bird here on this side is really light. I need to put a darker background, so I've got a grey board which is basically the same sort of grey as this behind them. So just so that one stands out really, and then I've got a canvas which I can stretch and chuck on a frame to paint on, but I've got a canvas underneath there. Okay, for the background what I've done is I've mixed up a little bit of titanium white, alizarin crimson and a bit of ultramarine blue, and the titanium white I'm using is an old tube of Winton oil colour, Winsor Newton Winton 40 titanium white. This oil colour is really stiff, and it just helps with the being able to paint over the top of it, with it being so stiff. I have put a little bit of liquid in there as well, and I just didn't want a grey background basically, so I just thought I'd wing it, change the colour. Oh, didn't want to do that really. Well, I did, but because the light's coming in from this direction, I'll go a little bit lighter this side. All still very rough, just basically to carve out the shapes that I'm seeing. Brush I'm using, this one's Princeton. Lovely brushes these are. Absolutely gorgeous. I use all different brushes. I've gone through all the expensive ones, the really expensive brushes, and here goes my light again. There you go. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'll keep all that sort of thing in because it's just what happens in studio life really. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, brushes. I've used lots of expensive brushes, you know, the type that all the plein air painters use, and yeah, in that range. I'm not going to mention the range. There's some lovely brushes, but yeah, they weren't for me really. They're a bit on the shelf, not being used, gathering dust, especially the rigging brush. I really don't like the rigging brush. One of the best rigging brushes I've actually found is one of the cheap ones that you can get from Hobbycraft. The Graduates brand, they do a rigger's brush, and as I say, I've used lots of the expensive jobbies, and I have found that the Graduate rigging brush knocks spots off of all of them. For a rigging brush I prefer something a little bit softer than the real hard ones that you get. So maybe that's what my preference is. But yeah, so far at the moment, some of my favourite brushes to actually use are these Princeton's flats and the Jackson's Hogs, Jackson's own brand Hogs. Love those brushes, really nice. Okay, for the base I've mixed up Naples yellow and that nice hard titanium white. Again, putting in a little bit of liquid. This is just for the under passages. Ooh, that sounds a bit carry on, doesn't it? But anyway, this is just for the under passages because the liquid helps it dry quicker. Now at this stage, where I've just got it like this, at this stage this is where you can go, well, I don't actually like that composition, and you can wipe it all out. But at the moment it's working for me, so I'll keep this. I'll use some of this very lightly, keeping some of the brush strokes there because these birds are very textured the way they've been carved. This bird is going to be a lot lighter because it is a lighter crystal. As I say, thank you very much Crystal Crow for these. These are absolutely lovely. That's better. It looks more like the beak that we've got there. And same to that one. Okay, gorgeous. Right, whilst I'm at this stage, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to go make a cup of tea and then I'll come back to you because this should just be a little bit dried off, a little bit tacky, so I can put the other paint over the top of it. So you're not going to notice it, but I'm going for a cup of tea. See you in a minute. Okay, whilst we're waiting for that to tack up, I've got my cup of tea. It's still a bit wet, so I'll give you a little tour of my really messy studio and very dark studio. I've got this chest of drawers that's on wheels. I can pull that out whenever I like to you know, have a different setup. There's a few paints. There's a painting I did for a demonstration for a club in Hive down in Kent. I've got a bee in pastel demonstration coming up soon. There's a few of my paintings. This is where I set up all my pastel stuff. Underneath that big board there is a big tray that's got all my pastels in. There's another box there, Jackson's box, to take out some pastels to do some plein air painting. There's a few of my other still lifes that I like to do. There's a plein air painting of mine. This is a new, well, it's not a purchase. This week I took this off the top of a cabinet at a customer's place that we're doing at the moment. They wanted to get rid of it, so I thought I can put all of my glassware and that on there. There's a very antique laptop. That's because that has to work that very antique A3 printer, and for that printer you've got to have an old laptop, Windows 10. But the laptop I've got is dying, so how long that lasts for I don't know. And there's a few books. My red light is flashing on this camera, so I'm going to have to change this battery. There's a little sofa to have a sit on. There's my sofa that I sit at, there's my cup of tea, at this table to do ink drawings and other preparatory stuff. And here I've got some panels, some pastels and bits and pieces, some prints, some more prints, and some more glassware for painting. And on top of these easels I've got these decapitated heads that are also for doing still lifes with. And up there is a whole array of my pomade tins that I have done. I've done a couple of still lifes of those. Anyway, and that's my entrance with all my posh art boxes bags and all that sort of malarkey. So yep, that's my dirty, very dark studio. Although I've got a big window there, it gets very dark in that corner, as you can see. Anyway, let's get back to painting, shall we? I'll change this battery as well. Bit of colouring, that's very dark. That's nice. When I put some lighter stuff on, that will... It's got a lovely purple band going through this bird. Not too sure what sort of stone this is, but it's very nice. Put a little bit in the body there. Okay, then that goes into greens. It's got a really dark green, really dark green. To mix a nice dark green, I like to use black. Use a lamp black with cadmium yellow. You can get some beautiful greens, because there's some nice dark greens here. I'll put a little bit of ultramarine blue in there because okay, so this has got a really dark green part around its neck. It looks black when you're seeing it on the screen there, but on here, don't know whether that's picking it up better, but that is a really nice green. Let's continue. There's a nice bit of dark green behind, just underneath the tail feathers there, nice and dark. That's coming down like that. It's a nice dark green on its back. Once I've got all the patchwork in of these greens, once I put the highlights on, I'm hoping it'll all melt together. Right, okay, now there's a frosting on there which is a very light green. So with this green I've got, I'm just mixing in the colour that I mixed for that, which is the Naples yellow and titanium white. I'm just mixing it in with the green that I mixed for this to go over to make it like the cracked crystal parts. I've got a really annoying gnat buzzing around me at the moment. Gotcha. Sorry anybody that belongs to the Gnat Society that like to protect gnats. I'm sure there must be one. Well, this is looking like a fine mess at the moment. I'm just hoping that when I put all the highlights on it will all make sense. I'm going to give this more of the canvas colour. Got lots of creases in this canvas that these birds are sitting on, but I'm not going to paint those in. As I say, it's just a little study. I'll promise to do myself with these birds, and I'll probably do a more intricate painting of each individual bird at some point. So if you can hear, that's the dog over the road trying to talk to our dog. They have conversations. Here we go, that's Osha. Osha's the Doberman. She's only a few years old. She's still a youngster. Poor old Luca, he's 8 years old now. He's showing his age, bless him. Getting there. So that grey there should be carried on as it's the shadow coming over from this bird. Blend that in, let it take some of the colour of what it's sitting on, because basically a shadow should be nigh on the colour of what they're sitting on, because that's what the shadows are. I always see and think about painting a bit like sculpting. You're always taking bits away, putting bits on. A bit more to the background now. Believe it or not, this is nearly completed. Just got to sculpt in the shadows. Go a little bit over the top of the shadow and try to blend it in to give it a bit of a... because there's a bit of a halo around the shadow with the sort of light that I'm using. Around the back of the actual item that you're painting, if there isn't any shadow, try to make that nice and crisp. Notice I am pausing a lot, so I'll probably will be putting some music over, but by this time you'd have already found that out anyway, so pointless me telling you at this time near the end that I might be putting music over, because you would have heard it already. Please comment. I might lighten the shadows up a little bit now. I've put a little bit of cerulean blue into the mix to give me a slightly different colour for me shadow. I thought the other one was a little bit too dark. There are darker bits to the shadows, of course, because you've got around the edges would be a bit lighter, and the thicker parts would be, of course, where the more dense area is. I want to go around these shadows and soften them up. This little guy's got some black flecks in, so I'm using my favourite rigger. Sculpting all the time, cutting in, cutting round, sculpting. Okay, I've got some veining going through this here. As I said, I don't want to go too into detail because this is just a little study. It just unifies and ties everything in together. If you've got a bit of colours from all over the place, it just unifies everything together. A little bit of ivory black, a little bit of alizarin crimson. I will be softening this off. That's better. That's better. There was something worrying me about that, but I couldn't work out what it was. Got a little bit of a nick under there. Well, it's not a nick, but a bit of a shape to the tail. That's it. Beautiful. That's better. I've got a different titanium white now. Got to try to stand in the same position where I'm looking at the birds for the highlights, because you stand slightly to one side and highlight changes. Bearing in mind I don't want to be drawing all of these bits in because they are very subtle. Well, I'm not sure what part I run out of battery then, but I was explaining about the shadows, knocking them back, or not the shadows, highlights, knocking them back, because you don't want them to be too in your face. On this one here, the highlights are so bright that I can't seem to, the white, you can't really see much of a difference to it. Now with the back of my brush, just very subtle, because the carvings is very subtle. I think I'm going to call that it.